The next topic we're going to discuss on Boxing Bros. Does Devin get a pass to curve Garcia because Ostarine contamination? Now, Devin Haney and his team have made a smear campaign against Ryan Garcia. Originally, it was reported that he tested positive for two banned substances, one a steroid and the other a SOM. Eventually, he was cleared of the steroid allegation, and then only Ostarine, the SOM, remained. But Ryan Garcia has submitted a hair follicle sample that came back negative, but also he submitted his supplements to be tested, and his supplements came back showing contamination for Ostarine. So we're going to take a look at a few things, and then we'll give our perspective on that. So here's what Victor Conte had to say after they tested Ryan Garcia's supplements and they came back for contamination with Ostarine. Victor Conte said, part one, at Ryan Garcia tested positive twice for Ostarine, reported May 1st, 2024. About May 15th, two of his products were sent for testing. Both were positive for Ostarine. Seems to be no receipts of chain of custody, and both containers had broken seals. In my opinion, these are not credible or admissible results. So let me break down a few things. Chain of custody is just basically who took it, who was in possession of it, how did it get to the lab. So, for example, if you arrest someone and they have drugs on them, there's a chain of custody. You would have to report what officers collected the drugs, where they submitted it to, and then anywhere it was moved, there has to be chain of custody. So what Victor Conte is saying is there was no chain of custody on who had these supplements in their possession. So chain of custody is important. However, what isn't important is broken seals. And I'm just letting you know from a legal perspective. Ryan Garcia is arguing that he took a supplement that was contaminated. So you would need the bottles that he used. You wouldn't just need to go pick any bottle up off the shelf that is sealed and unopened because it wouldn't be the one he used. And every bottle isn't made in the same factory. And if he's arguing contamination, he could be arguing that on the date that they bottled up his supplement, the one that he's in possession of, there was contamination at the lab. Maybe they were mixing Ostarine there. Maybe they were making some Ostarine supplements, and then they used the same. And so on that day and time, there was some contamination with the supplements they made on that date. So he just needs to submit the supplements he was taking. They need to show contamination, and then it's up to the products, the people who make the product itself, to combat that and to argue that that's not true or whatever. But why would he send a sealed bottle of this? Because again, it's like me saying I got poisoned by a Five Guys burger at this location, so they're going to go to another Five Guys at a different location and eat a burger there to make sure that the meat isn't contaminated. We didn't say Five Guys meat everywhere is contaminated. We're saying I ate a burger at this location and the burger here was contaminated. So you would need to look at that location. He's saying that these supplements that I was taking were contaminated. So he needs to submit those exact supplements. So chain of custody is important. But the fact that the bottles he sent were open, they're supposed to be open. Duh. All right, so sorry, I just had to break that down, bro, for the level for the people who are making that argument. Like he was supposed to send closed bottles. Like that doesn't make any sense. Like, all right, so we're going to take a listen to what Victor Conte had to say about this in the past. Sorry. We're going to listen to what Victor Conte had to say about this in the past, but then in true Victor Conte style, he switches his opinion when it involves Ryan Garcia. So this video is up. It was tweeted by HLD. Follow my man HLD. He's cool as hell. But here's what he wrote. These three videos hit different now. how would Victor Conte know that the tested supplements were open bottles only? And if they were, why would WADA even test them? I mean, he meant VADA there. Time for Attorney General. But let's listen to what he had to say.
Because these Ostarine is an oral. It can come in a tablet form. Somebody around him could grind this up and put it in a shake, and he could drink it and not even know.
I went to St. Martin that Sunday morning.
No, we don't care about this guy, but I want to move to. So this is Devin's brother, and this is what Devin's brother was saying before it even came out that Ryan tested positive.
If you watch my channel, you know that I don't like talking about cheating in the sports.
3 days after, the fight on Saturday, you see what happened, but it's okay. Wins and losses is what makes us bosses. We did everything right in training camp, no excuses. I just don't know how Ryan did everything wrong and won, but like I said, no excuses. All glory be to Allah. But something crazy though is I was on the prayer mat today, and Allah was just telling me he's going to test positive for his drug test. Keeps going in my brain, and I'm like, no excuses. I mean, everything happens for a reason. And he keeps saying he's going to test positive for his drug test. He's going to test positive for his drug test. Yeah, but we'll see what happens. Like I said, all glory be to Allah. There's none worthy of worship but Allah. And, yeah, peace.
I don't care if somebody snuck into your room and spiked your toothpaste, you're going to be responsible. The burden is on him. I don't care if somebody.
All right. So what he's talking about is called strict liability. So when there's strict liability, you are responsible. So it is true that, like, regardless of your intent with strict liability. So it's true. Even if Ryan Garcia didn't have the intent to cheat, he is responsible for what he puts in his system. That is only fair, right? However, he has shown that he was taking supplements that were contaminated, and that's why he had trace amounts in his system. So now it's up to the commission to look into whether or not he gained a performance advantage based on those trace amounts being in his system. If the answer is no, which it is at this point, you've heard from more plates, more dates. You heard from people who understand what this does. If the answer is no, now they have to determine what should be the penalty, because he is responsible. It was in his body. Do you overturn the result of the fight if he didn't knowingly ingest it and it didn't give him a performance advantage? Or do you suspend him, give him a slap on the wrist, kind of like how they were doing in the legal profession? So anyways, Dollar Bill just had to lay the foundation for all that. Now that all that is set, do you think Devin should get a pass if he avoids the rematch with Ryan Garcia because of his Ostarine contamination? Or will you hold it against Ryan Garcia? I mean, will you hold it against Devin Haney if he doesn't rematch Ryan Garcia?
I've been saying that Devin need to get back. I've been saying that. You know what I'm saying? You feel like I brought up last week. I brought up the whole Alex Aguayo and Aaron Pryor joint. How this is just for your legacy. Everything that has happened. I don't. And even talking about that. Yeah, I just don't. It still don't. This whole thing don't sit right with me. And I have made it my own duty now. I don't care about Ryan no more. I don't care about Devin no more. My beef is with, I'm giving all my energy now to the guy who's been running his mouth. I'm giving you all my energy because why is Victor Conte talking? I wrote this down, and his words are not credible. He talking about somebody not being credible. Your word is not credible. I don't understand why, bro. You said this a long time ago. You said, why is he in the sport of boxing? And I second that. Why is he in the sport of boxing? I'm calling for an investigation against Victor Conte and the whole SNAC. But I want a whole investigation against SNAC and Victor Conte. And my thing is, look at his fighters before and after taking his products. I think that they unknowingly getting an advantage and not testing positive because he knows how to trick the system. Like he said this before. And I think that there's something going on here. See, when you start talking and you make the eyes go to you. See, I wasn't really thinking about it until you started going so hard on Ryan and then started going back on what you were saying, contradicting yourself. Then it made me start looking at your fighters. So I went and I did my own test. I went and started looking at Caleb playing, how he looked, how Devin looked, how all these other fighters looked before SNAC. And they didn't have that extra 6-pack. They didn't look like how they did before. They all look different. Every last one of them looked different. They went from having a normal 6-pack to having like a 12-pack. You know what I'm saying? Extra muscles on the side. You know what I'm saying? It looks crazy. See, you keep talking, and you're gonna have people start remembering who you really are. You the cheat. You're the cheater. You have the nerve calling everybody dirty and calling everybody cheater, but you're the one that was the ultimate cheater. And how you getting all this information from Vada is kind of weird. So it means to tell me that there's some cheating going on, but there's some cheating going on your side. Because it looks like you're doing a whole bunch of covering up. So yeah, I want an investigation done on SNAC and Victor Conte. It's only right. Get him up out of here. Get him up out of boxing. He has no right, no business here. He has no business here, no right here. Get him up out of boxing. He's proven to be a cheat, and he's proven to give people drugs without their knowing, or without their permission. So with a guy like that in this sport, and then with his connections with Vada, makes me not want to trust Vada no more. So there, that's what I don't even really care about Devin and Ryan no more. I care about Victor. Victor put the spotlight on himself. And I think that they should be shut down.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, bro. I think you made a great point. And I would just add to that, bro, for all the people who don't care about how the Ostarine got in Ryan Garcia's system. They're saying, oh, it's in his system, and that should just be enough to overturn the victory, not caring about whether or not it actually was enough to give him advantage. Don't care whether or not it came from contamination. What if it gets revealed that Victor Conte was giving Devin Haney illegal substances, and that's how he was able to rehydrate and perform. He was able to rehydrate 20 plus pounds every fight and perform and fight 12 rounds as a result of an illegal substance that Victor Conte was given to Devin. Will you keep that same energy and ask for all Devin's victories to be overturned? Although Devin had no idea that this is what Victor Conte was giving him, because this has actually happened to athletes who trusted Victor Conte in the past. Would you keep that same energy? And also, would you be saying it doesn't matter what Devin intended? The only thing that matters is that it was in his system. And lastly, if it's determined that Devin was given illegal drugs by Victor Conte, but they had no impact on his performance, would you still be saying, oh, we'll overturn all his victories and remove his championship run from the history books? You would not. Because those of you who saying that about Ryan Garcia, you like Devin Haney. So that's why you want to see Ryan get stripped. But remember, you shouldn't throw stones when you live in a glass house. And someday those stones may be being casted at you because, like Trill Dollar Bill said, and I support that, there should be an investigation into every boxer who works with SNAC, what supplements they take, and there should be stricter drug testing on those who work with SNAC due to the history of Victor Conte, and they shouldn't be tested by VADA because of Victor Conte's close connections with VADA. So to get into this, and I'll try to make this as quick as I can. For me, enough evidence has been released from Ryan Garcia to show contamination. From the beginning, Dollar Bill, we said it's most likely contamination. After we got all the results, we saw he tested negative up to this point. Then all of a sudden, trace amounts comes into the system. There's not enough. There's not enough in his system to give him an advantage, to give him a performance advantage, especially from when he tested positive. The amount that was in his system, it was already most likely contamination. They tested the supplements he was taking, and there was Ostarine in those supplements. For the people arguing, oh, well, why would the bottles be open? They have to test the exact supplements that he was taking because every supplement from that company isn't made in the same lab. And even if it's made in the same lab, it wasn't made on the same day. People clean stuff. If you work in the kitchen, so a chef makes a dish on the grill, he cleans the grill. How many people work shifts? What if there was someone working a shift at a restaurant and they was playing with their nose, right? So then them playing with their nose, a little sprinkle of it gets into a steak. Someone eats the steak and then unknowingly has trace amounts of cocaine in their drug test. And they work for the government. The government's like, man, you tested positive for cocaine. And they're like, what the hell? They take a hair follicle sample is clean. Everything's clean. Just this, it's obviously contamination. So now they say, well, I ate a steak at this place. And then they're going to test all the steaks. No, it's about that product that you consumed at that time. That's what matters when it comes to contamination. The product you consumed at that time. So that's why they got to test the supplements he was taking. Because he's arguing they were the ones that were contaminated. So they test those supplements. They test positive for Ostarine. Now they have a duty to test whether or not these supplements contamination are in line with the trace amounts that they found in Ryan Garcia. If that lines up, then he showed why it's in his system. Strict liability. Ryan Garcia is responsible for what went into his system. So he still is not off the hook. But do you overturn the result of the fight when that positive didn't have anything to do with the result of the fight? No. So at this point, you suspend them. But you don't overturn the result of the fight. So now that it's contamination, and we know it's contamination, for me, Devin Haney should want a rematch. And if Devin Haney isn't going to rematch Ryan Garcia, then he should shut up about Ryan Garcia. And just to be clear, I like Devin Haney. Don't care too much for Bill Haney, but I like Devin Haney. I respect Devin Haney. He's a fighter. He gives it his all. He came up short. Either you're going to rematch Ryan Garcia now that the dust has settled. Either you're going to rematch Ryan Garcia and you're going to do it again, or you're going to move on. But you need to stop with the smear campaign. It appears highly unlikely that Devin Haney will have his L overturned. And as I stated before, even if they take away the L, he may have a 0, but he'll never be undefeated again. So this, like you said, Trill, I'm done with Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney, and all this drug stuff. I'll let the fanboys on each side argue it. For me, as someone who's following this, trying to be objective and just calling it like I see it, I don't think Ostarine is the reason why Ryan Garcia beat Devin Haney. I think, he couldn't. I think Devin Haney, if he wants to make a statement, run it back with Ryan, run it back at a weight where you're comfortable, do everything. But if he's going to keep trying to play this, oh, I was cheated, whatever, I don't feel sorry for Devin. I don't feel sorry for Bill. Ryan won. Run it back or move on.
Let us know how you feel in the comment section. Please like and subscribe. Check out our podcast on all streaming services. I'm the Commissioner Trill Dollar Bill. That's my brother Caden. It's LLG for life. You already know. Oh! You hit it with the Michael Jackson. Oh! In the boxing, bro.